In federal elections, the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, commonly called the SAVE Act, proposes a strict new rule. To register to vote, you have to provide documentary proof of your United States citizenship. Supporters of the legislation argued this level of verification is a necessary layer of security to keep non-citizens from casting illegal ballots. However, state audits, prosecutions, and academic studies consistently show that non-citizen voting is statistically negligible. Existing systems already identify ineligible applicants, and confirmed cases of illegal ballots remain extremely rare. To see how this proposal functions in the real world, we have to look at what happens when you apply these stringent new rules to the 240 million eligible Americans. We have to see who actually makes it through the filter. Examining the mechanics of this filter shows how a policy aimed at a small number of ineligible registrations can create a much wider impact on the legal voting population. The first barrier is the document gap. The legislation requires gold standard records, like a passport or a certified birth certificate. Driver's licenses or real IDs are often rejected because they establish identity and residency, not citizenship. This creates an immediate logistical wall. Many low-income voters often cannot afford the fees to replace missing records, while young and student voters frequently lack access to these original documents in the first place. The second barrier is the name match. Your underlying citizenship document must perfectly match your current identification. This rigid focus on paper records affects millions of married, divorced, and transgender voters whose current legal names no longer match their birth records. To survive this filter, voters must source an unbroken paper trail of marriage certificates, divorce decrees, or court orders to prove they are eligible. Routine life milestones, like getting married or surviving on a tight budget, become severe bureaucratic roadblocks to exercising a constitutional right. The third filter is geographic. By requiring citizens to present original documents directly to election officials, the legislation limits mail and online registration. This physical barrier isolates rural and Native American voters, who may face 100-mile round trips from remote reservations. It also burdens disabled and older voters who lack independent transportation to reach a county office. It also creates an absolute logistical challenge for military personnel and overseas citizens who cannot physically present documents to a local election office. We can see the real-world consequences of these rules in Kansas, which previously implemented an almost identical documentary proof-of-citizenship law. The Kansas law blocked over 31,000 applicants, roughly 12% of all new registrants during that period. The vast majority of those placed in suspense were eligible American citizens, not undocumented immigrants. The Kansas experience illustrates how administrative filters can function in practice, resulting in the disenfranchisement of a significant portion of the legal voting population. Even voters who manage to navigate the document fees, the name changes, and the physical travel face one final hidden hurdle: the federal SAVE database. Originally designed for public benefit programs, this system relies on lagging immigration records. Because naturalization information does not immediately update across every government server, the database can misidentify fully naturalized American citizens as non-citizens. As a result of this technology gap, eligible citizens of color and naturalized Americans can be quietly purged from voter registration lists. Many only discover the error when they are turned away at the polls on Election Day. The SAVE Act represents a collision between the theoretical desire for absolute election security and the practical reality of democratic access. When you stack these sequential filters, the fees, the name match, the travel, and the database errors, they systematically block vulnerable demographics step by step. The ultimate legacy of the SAVE Act is an alteration of American democracy. It takes voting from a universal right and turns it into an exclusive bureaucratic privilege, reserved only for those with the time, money, and perfectly matching paperwork to claim it.